All right, hello, welcome back to the stream. Oh, that's not a very interesting screen, is it? There we go. So, yeah, today we're going to be continuing just doing a bunch of miscellaneous stuff to get the demo ready. Like I said, I think the updated demo is pretty much imminent. I think it's looking good for a release early next week. So we'll see. Got a lot of playtesting to do, some other minor things to address, some reworking to do, that kind of thing. So we're going to be doing a lot of that on this stream. But before I get into it, I want to remind you all that if you'd like to support my work, you can check out the links in the description below. I've got a couple of Udemy courses available for sale. They cover the complete start to finish process of creating a game in Godot. And there's a C# course and there's GD script courses as well. So whichever language you want to use, there's a course available for you. Also, wishlisting Gunforge is a great way to help me. Gunforge will be out within a couple of months. So that would be also greatly appreciated. And of course, liking and subscribing, all that good stuff. So thank you in advance for all of your support, and let's get right into it. But before we do, hello, Musky Dev. How are you doing? Good morning to you as well. Hello, Eric Grove. Welcome back. Good to see you. How long after demo can we expect full game? Yeah, I think pretty much answered that, but like a month or two, probably closer to 2 months. I originally wanted to release the full game at the end of December, but I think I'm going to target the end of January. I do want to have all the content done by the end of December, but the problem is that I still need to like update the Steam store page and do a new trailer. I've got to put together a YouTube video for it. Like I got to get all there's a bunch of extra, related work that I need to do that's not really directly related to the game in order to make sure that the launch is a success. So I want to have the game like feature complete, content complete by the end of December, and then take basically the month of January to polish everything up, but then also to put together all of the trailer and store page assets and, start reaching out to people in terms of marketing and whatnot. So that's the plan, but we will see. I definitely don't want this to go too far into the new year. I'm pretty set on end of January because I'm eager to get started on my next game, but also I'm eager for Gunforge to be in the hands of everyone. It's been a long process. Okay, sorry about that. Cat needed to be buried. All right, so let's get right into it. So on yesterday's stream, I was working on keybinding, which I'm happy to report it's basically done. So the keybinding is working great. If the project would load, I can show you. So in the options menu here, we've got a new keybinds button. I can bring this up, and that's going to bring up this menu, and I can rebind all of these. So move left, move right, move up, move down, dash, interact, inventory. So I can basically use any keyboard button that I want to use here. So if I want interact to be O, I can do that. I can also bind the mouse keys, or the mouse buttons rather. Why is that not working? Okay, that's a bug. No! I got some errors I'll have to address. Okay, but anyway. So if I changed my... Oh, it's still broken. Okay. Maybe I did something wrong. Let's see what those errors are. Specified argument was out of range. What? Interesting. Well, I don't want that to happen. Update rebind to label. Pending bind event. Oh, you know what? If I click confirm, if pending bind event. Don't I set this? Let's see. That's weird. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out why that's happening, but let's just show the rebinding first. How long have I been working on it? On and off for about 4 years, 3.5, 4 years, something like that. Something like that. Okay, keybinds, inventory, boom, mouse button done. So now if I press, I know you can't see my mouse button, but you can believe me when I say that that mouse button rebind is working now. And if I go to my stats, or if I go to my keybinds here, I can change my interact key. Let's do O. And now that prompt actually changes too, so I can hit O. And everything is using physical keys now. So that means that if you are using a non-QWERTY keyboard, instead of it being WASD as printed on the keycaps, it will be the physically equivalent location of WASD on a QWERTY keyboard. So people who have different keyboard configurations will still be able to play the game before going into the keybind menu and changing things how they like. So you can change dash to shift if you want. I don't have it. There we go. So yeah, all that's great. And then that gets saved, of course. So if I leave the game and come back in, that will all be loaded back up for me. Oh, it looks like it didn't save. Did I lie? Oh no, it did save. Yeah, shift right there. But we're gonna reset those to defaults. And that's good. Hello, good morning, Juan. Your streams have been my company last couple weeks while working. Keep the good work going. Thank you, Juan. I'm happy to be your company. And thanks for joining. It's good to have you here. I see you changed the button color. I always ask myself when you would do that. Maybe make them bronze color to align with the forge element. That is a good idea. Bronze color. The red is a little bit, it is a little bit much, but yeah, I think I'm not really a UI or UX designer. So I think the main thing is that the buttons need to be obviously clickable. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to just make sure that they are a color that stands out. Oops, I broke the full screen, no. Every time I hit full screen, it takes away my video feed for some reason. You are making games. I am making games. Welcome back to the stream, Rootbin. I'm actually gonna try that. Let's try making those I mean, this is a little bit of a tangent, but let's see if I can make those buttons bronze. So here. Oh, you know what? I probably don't want to do this. I think I have a buttons sprite file, yeah. So in here, do we have a good bronze color? That's a kind of a good bronze color. Like that. Yeah, the problem is that it's not like super bronzy, you know what I mean? Also gonna turn. Why are these? I don't remember these interaction area. Goodness. Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's see what those buttons look like. UI looks amazing though. Thank you, Beta. I really appreciate that comment actually, because the UI was the hardest thing for me to do. It was really, really difficult. I went through so many iterations of the UI. So that's what bronze buttons look like. I probably have to change the text as well, because those aren't quite dark enough. What do you guys think? Do you like the bronze color better, or do you like the red better? Just something that would be nice with the theme, yeah. I agree. Hello, Christopher. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. I preferred the red. Oops. It was contrasty. I think the color looks nice, but yeah, the font doesn't match now. I liked the red more. Yeah, I think we'll keep it red. I can always change that later. I mean, I do like the bronze is better. No, there's so much disagreement. Okay. I think... Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay. Let's just really quickly change the font and we'll see what that looks like. Let's see. Assets. Resources. UI. Skullboy bitmap. Ingot button. I think this is what I need, yeah. So load default palette. I think this white probably needs to be probably like a dark purple. And then this can be that. And then this here, probably use the same color. I have no clue if that's gonna look good, but let's give it a shot. And I can just look at it in here. So I need to go to my fonts here. Skullboy bitmap padded. Ingot button normal. Reimport. Why did that get so much bigger? Also, that's probably too dark. It's probably too dark. I don't know if purple's going to be appropriate. Oh, is there a different kind of... Maybe that? I don't really like that color either. I think that's also just a tad bit too dark. This is probably too light now. This is the problem with using a limited color palette. Let's try that. That's probably a good color. All right. Yeah, I think that looks nice. So let's see what that looks like in game. Add an option for UI color. Oh no, I can't do that. I am a bit colorblind though, so don't take my opinion too much. Well, now you tell me. No, that's okay. I think that no, the feedback from colorblind people / players is also useful because it helps, like, if your art is easily readable by people who have all kinds of color perception. Hello, Rin. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Got to compare the values for contrast to be accessible, I'd imagine. Yeah, exactly. So that text is... Yeah, it's hard to find a color that works there. I could potentially make this lighter. But then that kind of starts to lose its bronzeness. Like, it kind of loses its bronzeness, but now the contrast is better between the text. Okay, so what do you all think about this direction here? Is this... Does this look good, or do you still prefer the red? I think the colors that I had chosen for the red work better than this, but I do agree that bronze here would be more thematically appropriate. So that's kind of where I'm torn. The game had quite a glow up since the last time I've seen it. Thank you, Nos Syndrome. Yeah, I've been working really hard on this to get this ready. I like this more because don't leave me hanging, Christopher. It could just be any metal color, which looks nice in my opinion. Yeah, I think the problem with the red is that it doesn't really match, like you said, to any particular metal color. So, but like if this was silver or bronze, or, I mean, it turns gold when you hover over it, and that fits really nicely. I prefer the red seems to fit the nature of the game. Yeah, I think that's right. In this case, I don't like the color of the font. It matches the highlight color more, sorry. Yeah, no worries. A goldish bullet color for the buttons might look good. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know. It would take me a little bit of playing around with the colors here to get this right. But I think I'm going to play with this a little bit off stream. Because I do like the idea of making these look more like metal buttons. But I agree that the red seems to, I don't know, the red seems to fit in a way as well, so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but instead of eating up all the time for this stream here, playing with colors, I'll just kind of back burner that for now. It's a good suggestion. I'm definitely going to investigate that later, but for now, we're going to keep it the way it was. And we'll go back to the red here. I still prefer red. It could be because that's what I saw when I first found your stream. Could be a nostalgia kind of thing. Yeah, that's an interesting point because one of the skills that I think you have to learn as a game dev is like you get so used to your game being a certain way or looking a certain way that you kind of naturally become resistant to changing things, but that can sometimes be a bad thing. And oftentimes it is a bad thing. You have to be willing to kind of like let go of things and just try something new. And sometimes when I'm doing things, I'll try something new and then I'll just, even if I don't like it immediately, I'll just let it sit for a couple days. And usually what happens is if it is an improvement, it starts to grow on me and that starts to become the new normal. And sometimes I'll change something and like a couple days later, I'll be like, I still don't like that. So I'm going to change it back, you know? So I think, you know, you have to be careful not to get too like attached to things. Needs more saturation. Yeah, I gotta play with the colors. If you squint the eyes, you will see the issue. The buttons disappear. You want a clear value change. Yeah. Add a hammer animation on button click. That would be cool. It really pops when red. It pops a bit too much. Red is really aggressive in general. Well, this game is very aggressive. But anyway, there's, did all my data get deleted? What happened? Oh, I think I accidentally chose to, do the tutorial. I need to update. So one of the things I got to do on this stream is update those tutorial prompts. I want to make them a little bit more visible. And also make them match your keybinds. But first, I need to figure out why this was not working. So if I... Okay. So there's something weird going on here when I'm bind a mouse button. So update rebind pending bind event. So in this input method here, this is where I'm handling all the bindings, the keybind logic, and I am excluding certain keys. So you can't rebind escape because that's like your way to bring up the menu, and I don't want players to destroy that and then not be able to bring up the menu. And then I'm also excluding any keys that have any modifier buttons pressed, so you can't do like shift plus something for your keybind, just because that is potentially going to conflict with some of the UI controls that I have. Also excluding the meta key, so that's like Windows or Command, or is it Command? Yeah. And then for the mouse buttons, you can rebind any mouse button that is not the left or right mouse buttons. So basically, as long as you're not rebinding left or right or escape, then you can use it as a key binding. But there appears to be some kind of issue in here. Oh, this is the issue. I was casting this, so when I click on a button to rebind it, it was getting the first input event from the input map, but then trying to cast it to a key, an input event key. This is a holdover from when I had initially worked on this. to make this work with keyboard keys only. But now I can support mouse. So what the problem is that this ends up being a mouse event, but then it tries to be cast as an input event key, which fails, so it returns null, and then that creates all kinds of issues. So I just need to delete this, and that will fix that issue. So now I should be able to avoid that. And then we can move on to updating those tutorial prompts, which is also going to be a can of worms because the UI system in Godot is sometimes a little bit wonky. All right, so keybinds, interact. All right, that issue is no longer a problem. I had to acronymize these things because this full text is mouse thumb button 2, and it was just like taking up a huge swath of the UI. So for the mouse buttons, I had to abbreviate. I hope people... I mean, you don't really need to understand what that means because you press the button, and as soon as you press the button, it updates. So I'm hoping that that's going to be fine, abbreviating those things. Okay, so now to move on to this action prompt issue. So if I'm hovering over this, it says press E for stats. So I press E, but now the problem is if I change my keybind and I change the interact key to shift, click OK, done, that updates, but it doesn't update the size of the button. So I can still press shift, but it's not properly sized. So I need to fix that. Now I was trying to get that to work. So I have this action prompt scene here, and the action prompt scene allows me to supply the action name corresponding to the input map, and then it will use that action name to update this label here. Now what I had in place was just manipulating some sizes. So I can't just put the label down here because it ends up being misaligned, and the reason is because there's this extra space down here for the what are these things called when they hang down below the line, the G? Anyway, there's all this extra white space here, which is adding a bunch of padding that I can't really control because it's just kind of baked into the font. So that's why I introduced these several layers of UI nodes. So the control does not automatically update its size in accordance with the label, which means that I can have the label positioned however I want within that control, and that eliminates that empty space there. The problem though is that it's just hard to get the sizes right. So in here, when I call update prompt, this is reading the input event from the input map, transforming it to a string. It's resetting that control's custom minimum size back to 0. Then in a deferred manner, it's calling update size. It's forcing a minimum size on the control that is the parent of the label, and the minimum size is being set based on the label size. Now this works going from small to large, but it does not work going from large to small. And I don't know why. So if I go here, so I got shift here. Now if I go to my keybinds and I change interact back to E, and I go to resume, you see that it remains large now. And I don't know why that happens. It's very, very annoying. So, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to just iterate over everything. So I set size equals vector 2.0, control dot size equals vector 2.0, label dot size equals vector 2.0. Like maybe I should just do that. And I wonder if I need to do the same for the margin container. I don't think so, because this is going to have its size managed automatically. So I wonder if I just go wild on resizing those things, if that's going to work. Little dangly things. Yeah, that's what they're called, the fonts, yeah. Descender is the part of the font that goes under the line. That's right. I think that's right. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, so let's go to keybinds, interact, shift. Okay, done. Resume. It grew properly. Okay, now go to keybinds, boom, reset, boom, resume. Okay, so now it reset the size, but the label is way off the beaten path there. So the problem is that, yeah, it's a mess. Reset size method. Is that, what does that do? Reset size to get combined minimum size. This is equivalent to calling set size vector 2. Oh, okay. That might be easier. I'm assuming that setting the size to vector 2 0 is functionally the same, but that's good to know. That's probably a little bit semantically clearer. So I'm going to try a different approach here. I'm going to try a different approach. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Or I wonder if I could just... Could I just reset the anchor preset? I wonder if I could do that. Label.anchor... Set anchors preset. I wonder if that would work. Because it's getting offset. And I wonder if I just force an anchor reset after the resize. I wonder if that will fix it. I hope it does, because then I'm done. I do want to redo that art too, this background art, because I originally had the keybind. This asset here was what I was originally using. And this is a third-party asset. I did not create this. This is the only art asset in the game that I did not create. But now that I'm really not using it, I'm just using like the background and putting my own text on it. I don't need this, so I'm gonna actually redraw the key icon, and then I can say that literally every piece of art in this game is mine. But anyway, let's do this first. Shift. Okay, done, boom. Okay, that looks good. Keybinds. Reset. Boom. Boom. Why is that happening? Let's take a look at the position. Rooms, hub arena, Y-sort origin, entities, stats table, interaction area component, label. What is the position in here? 20 pixels? That doesn't seem right. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Here. Position is negative 11.5. I wonder, instead of setting the anchors preset, this is such a mess. Oh goodness. Oh, it worked. Okay. I guess the problem is... Oh, it didn't... Oh, it's not working there? Why is it not working there? This is a mess. Okay. I think I'm going to need to find a different... Oops. I'm going to need to find a different way of doing this. It's just not working reliably at all. Why does that happen? I guess because it's not visible. I really wish Godot had a way of just like me overriding the line height for a font, because this would be so much easier if I could just like cut off the label. If I could just say, I know the font wants to be this size, but I want to force it to be this size, and I just don't think that there's a way to do that. At least maybe there's a way to do that in the font import. What kind of font is this? Is this is this just a standard font? Is there a way, so if I open, so Skullboy regular here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to do it in here, but I don't know anything about this. So I don't even know what any of this is. Open type features, overrides, script support, oversampling. I mean, I know what kind of this stuff does, but I don't know if there's a way to change the line height. You can see in here, I mean, there's extra space at the bottom of that E. But yeah, I don't see anything that's immediately useful in here, so that's unfortunate. Maybe it doesn't recognize the size of the label because it's a child of control. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what's happening. The problem is trying to manually reorient the position of everything when the size should change. It's because of this control that that's happening. And I just don't know how to get it to work reliably. I wonder... Okay, I'm just going to start playing around with this and trying to get it to work. I'm actually curious. I have this pass-through control that I'm using for UI animation. I wonder if I could add that, add the label. And the reason why that's useful is because now I can use the container sizing of the label, and that will be inherited by the pass-through control. So I can say I want the label to fill, like so. Oh, and shrink end. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh. Okay, well, I feel silly now. Alright, well, it looks like that's all I needed to do. Okay. Well, cool. Alright, I'm pretty confident that that's going to work now, and I don't need to do any of this stuff anymore. Well, I thought for sure that I wasn't going to have enough room to account for the bottom, but it looks like it's actually perfect. So I'll just have to make sure to maintain the same shape for the keyboard binding when I redo the art. Oh, look at how nice it is. Oh, it's working so well. Look at this. Oh my goodness. What's the longest key I can think of? Enter, delete, caps lock. Nice. Sweet. Alrighty, it works. The margin container was meant for this. You didn't need the extra control. Yeah, I guess I could have applied a negative margin to the margin container, huh? I keep forgetting about that. Sometimes I just have those moments. Ooh, backspace is a good one. Oh, look, it's so perfect. It's working. Nice. Can you bind scroll wheel up and down? I believe so, but let's go ahead and try it. Mouse wheel up, mouse wheel down for move up and move down. Oh, that doesn't actually work for player movement. Interesting. Why does that not work for player movement? Oh, probably because, do I have to? No. Oh, because it's doing action strength. I don't know why that's happening. Oh, maybe I should check that out. I mean, I don't think most people are going to bind their movement keys to mouse wheel and mouse down, but I probably should make it work, right? Let me commit these changes here. Action, prompt, tweaks. I should probably make that work. Okay. Launch. Move up. So that's right. It's adding it to the just pressed actions. Get action strength. Okay, that's right. Get viewport set input as handled. This should be is action released. It's removing it, yeah. So I think the mouse wheel isn't working because it basically gets pressed and released like immediately, I guess. So I don't know if there's actually an easy way of making that work. So let's just reset that. Let's try dash mouse wheel up. Okay, so that works. Yeah, I think the movement just isn't going to work with the mouse wheel, which is fine. Mouse wheel down for interact. Mouse wheel doesn't emit release. Well, it does because it's passing this check here. Event is action released. So I guess you're just not going to be able to use the mouse wheel for movement. I don't know why you would, but I don't think it's worth the effort to try to fix that. I could use space as the move up button. Also, you can bind two things to the same thing, the same key. Which I don't really want to put a bunch of effort into preventing because it's such a short keybind list. I'll just let people be allowed to make that mistake and just reset if they need to. What's most important is allowing some customizability of the keybinds, and I have achieved that, so I think that's fine. Okay, so the tutorial now needs to be reworked. So in here, I need to redo all these. So instantiate, so action prompt here. So this needs to be, what is W? Move up. Okay. A is move left. B is move, or D. W-A-S, no, this down. And right. Okay. So there's that. Oops. Aim, that's fine. Shoot is going to be fine as well. This dash needs to be action prompt. Okay, inventory. I think I need to remove one of the, or I need to remove both of those. Instantiate child scene, action prompt. I believe this one's called player information. All right, let's take a gander and see if that works. Options, we need to show the tutorial. Instead of restarting the game, I'll just kill myself. The tutorial only shows up in the hub arena. Whoops. WASD move. Aim. Shoot. Dash. I for inventory. Sweet. What do you guys think? For the inventory, does it make more sense for the default keybind to be tab or I? What do you think? Take a little poll here. For the player inventory, is tab or I better? Okay, so let's rebind some keys here. Inventory, tab. Tab is easier on the hands. Tab, tab, tab. Well, we got 3 votes for tab. Any of you non-tab viewers, speak now or forever hold your peace. We got 4 tab votes now. Or maybe E and make interact F. I is more old school with stuff like Minecraft and RuneScape, but tab is better. Tab is better, but if I didn't look, I would expect it to be I. That would be my instinct. Oh, okay. I think I'll switch it to tab. Because the tutorial shows you how to open the player inventory, but then it also exists in the keybinds menu. I don't know about you guys, but if I want to learn how to play a game, I just go straight to the keybinds menu and just see all the possibilities. That's enough of a tutorial in and of itself. So if people like forget that an inventory exists and they open up their keybinds, they could see it. But okay, so let's see. So all these prompts are updating now, which is great. Shift dash, tab inventory. Sweet, and then my interact key has become F now, so that works. Awesome. Okay, let's change the default to tab though. So project settings, input map. Am I blind? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Player information. Do I use the physical key? I guess so. Most modern games are tab, yeah. Most people won't look at the keybind menu. You don't think so? Well, good thing that this game is relatively simple. Oops. Keybinds, reset to defaults, boom. Okay, so tab is now the default. I probably don't need to go through this tutorial again, but I like religiously testing things just in case. WSD move, aim, shoot, dash, inventory, and then interact. Sweet. I think the default keybinds are going to be fine for most people, so. All right, so tab is the new default. Update tutorial prompts. Okay, that was a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be, but I do want to make this tutorial a little bit more visually appealing. And I think the way I'm going to do that is just to give it a little bit more motion. I'm thinking of doing something really easy. First of all, one thing that I want to do is take this margin top, and I want to bring this down further into the screen, like maybe even there. Just bring it way down so it's more in the player's field of view. Because I had a friend play this, and I think it took him a while to notice that the tutorial was all the way up there. But then the other thing that I want to do is I want to maybe add some particles behind this. So if I take like my rune item here, I'm going to copy these particles, paste them here, make this unique recursive. I'm going to take another control here, and I'm going to say make that top center, put the GPU particles there. Actually, I don't need to do that. I can put it here. Container sizing. Where's my position? There we go. Can bring the position down a little bit. And then of course I'll need to modify these particles to cover the background a little bit more. I think that will help with visibility though. Do you have ricochet bullets in this game? No, I don't, but that's a good idea. I wonder how hard that would be. I wonder how hard that would be. Should that be an affix? That is a good idea. I hope you have speedrunners on your mind too. Expect people to speedrun it and add a time or two, or fast restart. Well, the problem is that this game is not really good for speedrunning because it's not like every wave you have to kill X number of enemies. Every wave has a fixed amount of time that it lasts. And so I don't really know if there's going to be much speedrun potential because it's like wave 5 is going to last, 25 seconds whether you're killing enemies really fast or not. So I don't really know if there's much to do there. Chain menus are cool. Reminds me of old DOS Doom-like game. Can't recall which one though had it. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I saw it like once, that kind of UI chain style. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna borrow that. But I'm glad you like it. Since the character is relatively to the center of the screen, wouldn't it be better if the tutorial dropped under the character? I don't think so. I mean, I think people... First of all, there's already stuff under the character, like the dash indicator, and the ammo is farther down the screen, but it's under. So like that area is cluttered, whereas the top of the screen is relatively free. But we'll see. Some people have big screens. Well, the thing about this game is that it doesn't matter what your screen size is. You're going to see the same amount as everyone else. It's locked to a 640 by 360, and it's going to maintain a 16:9 ratio regardless of your screen size. So every single player, you could have an 8,000, or an 8K screen, and you're going to be able to see exactly as much as somebody who's on a 1280 by 720 screen. So it's not, screen size is not an issue here. Make them go left to right like the kit lights. I don't know what that is. Use collision normal to get bounce direction and then add max ricochets. Yeah, that's how I would approach it. The problem is that, I've got a bunch of logic inside of the bullet that handles death and terrain collision. So I just have to be really careful. I have to be really careful about preserving all that data. And then there's a question of because bullets have a max range. So the question is, do I reset the range when it hits, and that can introduce problem. Anytime you're going to modify something that's really, first of all, the bullets are very complex, but they're also very core to the game. And so those two things together make it a really kind of dicey deal to go in there and change a bunch of mechanics, because you could just inadvertently break all kinds of things that you don't realize. Now, I'm trying to avoid that by having good design and everything, but still there's a little bit of caution that needs to be applied when working on that stuff. Maybe you could allow calling a wave early after beating through enemies. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, that would be in service of making speedrunners better. I mean, I think the easier thing to do, honestly, would be to introduce some kind of alternate game mode that is a speedrun game mode, where instead of it being a fixed number of seconds, it's a fixed number of enemies, right? So instead of the wave being 25 seconds, the wave spawns, 50 enemies, and they just keep spawning as quick as you kill them. That would help, for sure. So something like that, I don't know. Yeah, it's scaled, right? Yeah. I feel more confident when coding in C# than GDScript. Thank you for the live stream. Very inspiring. You're welcome, DK. Thanks for being here. The car from Knight Rider. Oh, I see. Oh, you're talking about the particles. Yeah, the particles are going to go, left, right, for sure. It's going to be like a purple flame, so they're going to be all, well, I'm pointing at my screen. You can't see my hands. It's going to be all to the left here, and then going up. Fixed resolution on ultra. No, it is going to have bars. It's going to be fixed to 16:9, but it's not going to stretch. So that means that if you have ultra wide, it's just going to have black bars on left and right, and it's the 16:9 is going to be right in the middle of the screen. I could probably get away with supporting ultra wide without too much effort. I think the main thing that needs to happen is that the height needs to be fixed, but I think the game supports... I think I've built the UI to support a variable width, but I don't know. I'm going to make it so you can't do things like open inventory until you get that part of the tutorial. No, I'm not. No. I don't really... Maybe for complex games that makes sense, but this game is so... I mean, there's like 8 different controls. Like, that's it. And 4 of them are your movement keys. So it's like, you know, if players like figure out all the controls before they complete the tutorial, it's fine. Had dialogue, like Harry Potter is the one giving the tutorial. Oh, that's an interesting concept. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. These are all cool ideas. I just have to be kind of judicious about how I'm implementing these things. Right now, my intention is not to change much about the game and just to add a bunch of content, but I'll reevaluate. Of course, it also depends on the feedback that I get from the demo. If the demo feedback, if a bunch of people are asking for like a new feature or some kind of system rework after the new demo feedback, then I'm definitely going to address that. But as it stands right now, my main focus is just to get this new demo out and get the game finished. Oh, you know what? This is gonna be a problem, actually. I don't think I want this to be a box. Let's make this a sphere. 8 pixels. Let's change the velocity. We want it to go up in the Y, but maybe do a 90-degree. Yeah, that works. We'll see how that works. Maybe I could get away with a box, but just do a smaller emission shape. The problem is I don't want it to, for the smaller tutorial prompts, I don't want it to bleed over. Let's see how that looks. I don't know, maybe that'll be fine. It's all good. I like the way you know which feature will take a while and which won't. Something you can achieve with extreme experience in an engine. Yeah, I mean, all the suggestions are great, too. I don't mean to sound like I'm blowing them off, but yeah, I do have to be judicious in things. And you're right, it does take a little bit of experience to know what's... it's not necessarily that these things can't be achieved in a reasonable amount of time. It's just that even if something takes like a half hour or an hour to implement, and you add 10 of those things, like, oh, well, they're really small things. Well, now you just added 10 hours of work, right? And those things add up. So it's mostly just a matter of managing the time well and doing the things that are most important to meet the goals. So a way to do a custom emission shape for the particle systems. I've been wanting to do a donut shape, but I haven't been able to figure out how. I don't know, honestly. I mean, you can go to the particle system and you can use like directed points or points here. And there's textures you can apply, but honestly, I don't even know. I don't know how that would work. I'm assuming you can accomplish what you're trying to accomplish with those textures, but I have no experience with that. Okay, so let's do this. Add health -4. Oh, well, that's not right. That looks good though, but it's not. Okay, first of all, the animation isn't working, and the particles need to follow it. So it's a little bit broken. It's a little bit broken. It's fine. So the particles probably do need to be in here, which is fine. The position, I'm gonna move that down to like 15 or maybe 12. Yeah, that looks better. And then I need to figure out what this animation is doing. What is going on? Where's the animation? Here we go. Control dot position. So this would be from negative control dot position. What is this controls position here? Layout transform position is, I want that just to be the Y. So I want it to go up 96 pixels, which is right. Right, I want it to go up 96 pixels plus a little bit of padding. But this needs to be negative new vector 2, 0, control dot position dot Y. I guess that it makes more sense to just do it this way. Okay. That should work. So let's go ahead and test that. I didn't know you could do that. I'll give it a try. Yeah, you'll have to see. Maybe there's a good tutorial about it. I haven't seen anything. What is this thing doing? Also, the particles aren't following it. Is there a reason why the particles aren't following it? Oops. Oh, is it animating the... It's not animating the... Oh, it's animating each of the individual... Each of these individual things. When I really wanted to animate this... Okay. This tutorial thing was made a long time ago, so... It's taken me a little bit to figure out what exactly is going on. But let me try this. So... I'm noticing something else too here. This should probably be a one-shot connection. Connect flags dot one shot. Okay. This is probably going to break wildly, but we don't need this visibility to happen. So I need to modify these. So I need to change the individual tutorial control. I need to change that visibility after the parent has been animated. Wow, this is a mess. But we're gonna do it. All right, YOLO. Failed to build project, what do you mean? Oh, forgot a parentheses. Forgot a parentheses? Parentheses is plural and singular, right? Parenthesis, or is it parenthesis and parentheses? It's probably that, isn't it? Okay, this is just absolutely broken. What in the world is going on here? So first of all, why is the GPU particles not going with it? If I move the control, it just doesn't... Oh, you know what? Do I need a pass-through control here too? So that I can actually move the parent control? Okay. I don't think that's going to help, but let's see what happens. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Is this mouse filter? We want that to be ignored. Yeah, this is just a mess. I might need to rewrite some of this. Why is that happening? I don't understand. The GPU particles is not moving with the control, it seems. Am I referencing the parent control everywhere that it needs to be referenced? I am. So, what gives? What gives? There are plenty of fishes in the sea. You must stop holding on to your toxic tutorial. Oh, that's funny. I know, the tutorial's bad. I need to cut them loose. Like, what is going on here? Why is that? Oh, I guess it is kind of moving. Maybe it is moving, it's just not emitting fast enough to really make a difference. That must be the issue. Those are not going far enough up either, which is really bizarre. It has a negative... Oh, you know what? I think what I need to do is change this. I guess I could just change the global position. So this is coming from in, so... I think it'll be easier with global position. Let's see if that works. Okay. Working a little bit better. Working a little bit better. There's one issue here though. Vector 2, I should have kept this, but then done parent control.globalposition.x. This is a MESS mess. But I don't really have the energy to rewrite it all, so I'm just going to get it working as jankily as possible. Okay, I need to modify the up animation, but that's looking good now, so I basically need to do the same thing here. So I need to tween global position. And then this GPU particles 2D, one of the reasons why it doesn't look like it's moving much is because it's not emitting fast enough. So I think what I need to do is just turn down the emission time so that it has time to generate like a trail when it's flying up. Ooh, that's not right. That's not right. What is going on here? Parent control position from parent control.global position. Oh, global position. Oops. Okay, and then the other thing I need to do is I need to turn the emitting off here. So this needs to turn off emitting. And then what will happen is I guess I can set emitting in here. GPU particles, 2D particles. Particles dot emitting equals true. Okay. Hide current complete particles dot emitting equals false. Does this ever get freed? Oh, this never gets freed, does it? Tutorial flow, base level. It's instantiates on tutorial completed. Oh, it does. Oh, it does free it here. Okay, interesting. Interesting. All right. Life of a programmer, constant iteration to less messy code. Man, messy code has its place though. Yeah, exactly. As the deadline gets closer, messy code it is. Yep. Yeah, I think that's true, Brekheck. I mean, there's a lot of interesting anecdotes. Like, what was it? What game was it? It was either like, it was like Super Meat Boy or Celeste or something like that, where the character controller was like 5,000 lines or something, and it literally contained all the logic for all of the states the player could be in, like all these unique states and whatnot. And it's just like endless reams of just like shove everything in the player class, and it's like your code just has to work, right? It doesn't have to be nice from a player perspective. I think code should be nice from a developer's perspective because it makes your game easier to work on. But at the end of the day, if your code works, like if you can shove your entire game into one class and it works and it's fun, then that's really all that matters. The more I spend refactoring 90% of the time, making utility library classes 8% of the time, and 2% actually coding the game. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, particularly when I first started game dev, I was like obsessed with like making everything perfect and like refactoring things as soon as there was an opportunity to do so. And I still do a lot of that because I want my code to be nice for myself so I can work on it effectively. But you definitely have to develop the skill of just learning when to say, it's messy, I know it's messy, but it's not worth the effort right now to spend time on it. So Undertale's entire dialogue system is one if statement. Oh yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah, that's funny. Half-Life has over a few dozen workarounds with the engine for physics and rendering. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, Nepal V, you're welcome. You are welcome. Welcome back to the stream. Okay, that's looking good now. I like that because it's very obvious now, like the way it shoots out and shoots in. I think it's going to be very impossible for the player to ignore that. I just want to try this again. There we go. Yeah, I think that's much better. It's like, it's impossible to ignore this now. And once it leaves, and you can play the game. Now I'll just make sure real quick that this all works with the keybinds done. Sweet. Sweet. that seems to be working great. I'm going to reset those keybinds. I like the default keybinds, so I'm not going to use that menu. That's for you. I made that menu for you guys. Okay, there's one more thing that I want to do, which is that I have to get in the habit of doing this. Anytime I introduce a new particle system, I need to go through the load game screen. And the reason is because, I'll show you. So I go through the load game screen. What this is doing is this is pre-compiling a bunch of materials in the background to hopefully reduce shader compilation stutter. But the other thing that it does when I'm running a debug build is it updates this pre-compile list, which many of you may have seen already. But this pre-compile list here, it's literally a text file of every scene that contains a material or, well, a material, so either a canvas material or a particle process material that needs to be compiled. And what happens during the load game screen is every scene from this file is loaded, and then all of the materials are pulled from that scene and compiled behind the loading screen. And so when I'm running a debug mode or I'm running through the editor, this list gets updated based on a scan of the file system. But when I go and publish the game, it will only read this file. And the reason is because reading the entire, like, what I do is I actually do a regex match against all of my scene files. So it's loading, like, I don't know, a couple hundred scene files and applying regular expressions to figure out which scenes have materials in them. And then it's pulling out that list of scenes and then compiling that. But I don't need to scan the entire file system and apply the regular expressions in the production version of the game, because I already know, which scenes are available. But I do need to update it from time to time when I'm doing development so that I can ship the most relevant up-to-date list. Update tutorial. Okay. But I also don't need to sit through the loading screen when I'm testing, so I can skip it there. I've heard Balatro has atrocious code as well. I have heard that too, yeah. Undertale's entire dialogue system is one text file. Jeez. I would go mad. Props to the Undertale developer, obviously, for creating a massively successful game, but I would go absolutely mad. Halo 5 had 3 separate different script VMs running at the same time. Lua, Havoc Lua, and C#. There were 5 vector math libraries, each with a library that just translated vector tiles. Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous. Okay, we're going to find something else to work on in just a second, but first I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. So I'm going to get a refill on my drink and whatnot. But while I'm on my break, it would be nice if you could check out the links in the description below. That's all the ways you can support me. You can see right above this screen right there. Get my course C#. Create a complete grid-based puzzle game in Godot for C#. So that's my latest course, but I also have GDScript courses that you can purchase if you want to learn how to build a game in Godot. Also, wishlist Gunforged, that would help me out a lot. Gunforged is going to be out relatively soon, within the next couple months. So, but yeah, I will be right back. The stream's not over. We're going to find something else to work on, but I need a quick break, and then we'll figure out what we're doing when I get back. So, all right, be right back. All right, I am back. Let's see what's going on. These games behind the scenes is... Yeah. The outlier is probably John Carmack. He wrote Watertight Code Solutions. Yeah, that dude is a once-in-a-generation talent for sure. Time with no internet, just straight testing and reading raw documentation textbooks. Yeah, he's a beast. Roller Coaster Tycoon dev. Yeah, the guy, he wrote that with assembly, right? Hello, Drytic, or Dritic. It was one of the comments on your deep dive video saying I'm an avid watcher of your VODs. This time I get to drop in and say hi. Thanks for everything you do. Well, thanks for being here, Dritic. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining, and yeah, I'm glad to hear that you enjoy the streams and the VODs and whatnot. So yeah, let's figure out something to do. So I need to rework this real passive use action prompt for tutorial. That's done. I think I need like one more sound effect for the lowrider spider, but I don't think I can do that on this stream here. I probably shouldn't be adding, I shouldn't add new content. I really do want to see what like a ricochet would look like though. I want to try that out so bad, but I think it's not a good idea for a couple of reasons. One, I shouldn't really be adding new content because the demo, I mean, the demo is basically feature complete. I just need to tune up some things. And also adding this kind of new bullet mechanic last minute has the potential to break things, which could negatively impact the demo experience, but I really want to do it. My mind's telling me no, but my heart is telling me yes. Okay, I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try the bullet ricochet because I really like that idea. And I'm not even gonna go through the whole process of creating a new affix. I'm just going to modify the bullet code to make it so that all bullets ricochet, just as an attempt to see how easy it is and how risky it is to do that. My philosophy is that the demo shouldn't show more than 25% of the game's potential, and this includes both gameplay length and features. Yeah, I think so. There's going to be 3 arenas in the game. You'll only have access to 1 arena in the demo. You don't have access to the meta upgrade system, the meta progression system, and the content that's going to be present in the demo. Like all the content that's available in the game outside of the arenas, the 2 other arenas, is going to be available in the demo. But the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm planning to at least double a lot of the content. So more affixes, more guns, more passives. And so by the time the full game comes out, the demo will have like a very limited section or selection of content. But I need to think about that some more. I may even restrict the demo content even further. But I also don't, I don't know. I think it's probably better, like, my feeling is that it's probably better to err on the side of exposing too much content than not enough. Because if I restrict it, like, let's say I only allowed players to unlock 3 different gun types, are they going to get bored of the game? Like, are they not going to get the sense that I'm trying to give, which is that there's all these different combinations of guns you could have, but if I'm only restricting them to 3, are they going to get bored and get turned off of the full game? Versus, if I give them a more full experience, but just limit the progression that they can get in terms of the meta progression and going on to the next levels, is that going to end up being more compelling for the player to go and purchase? So I think my opinion is probably I'd err on the side of exposing too much content in the demo, for this game in particular. Now, it might be different for other games, but because this game is so like oriented around getting random parts and passives and like seeing a build come together, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to adequately convey that feeling if I restrict the content too much. Hello, Boogie W. Welcome back to the stream. The ricochet affix could slightly weaken the bullets if it ends up being OP. I don't think it'll be OP, especially if it's an affix. I think, because the bullets do have like a restricted range too. So what I'm thinking is that when the bullets hit terrain, it increments the ricochet counter, and then it resets their travel distance so that they get their range back. But if you've got a really short range gun, like it can only go 200 pixels, and you bounce it off a wall, the max that it can travel is like 400 pixels, right? They have over 10 hours of gameplay, but they just let you play a videotape cutscene, which is around 30 to 50 minutes. Oh, I see. Interesting. The demo should have enough content to sell the game. Yeah. Yeah, I need to think about... I need to put more thought into it for sure. This is kind of like... Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and try some bullet ricochet now. So I'm going to go into my bullet component class here. Okay, so I've got collisions remaining here. This is... So I'm going to probably want to keep track of like private int ricochets remaining. I'll model it loosely after like pierce, so the bullet pierce affix sets how many collisions remaining there are. I probably want to do the same for the ricochet. So when I check the shape cast here, if the collider is a tile map layer, it's getting the normal, it's setting the global position, it's handling the collision, which is instigating the death here. But I think what I'd want to do instead is say if ricochets, let's do this. If ricochets remaining is less than or equal to 0, let's do equal to 0. I might as well do less than equal to 0. Handle collision. Else now here's the question, how do I change just replace that. How do I change the direction that it's traveling? Current velocity. So direction, current velocity plus additional velocity dot normalized. Additional velocity. So current velocity, I think current velocity. I need to like reflect the current velocity, right? Reset the distance traveled, ricochets remaining, decrement that. So if I reflect the current velocity around the collision normal, reset the distance traveled, and set the ricochets remaining, decrement that, is that going to work? There might be some collision wonkiness that I'd have to think about. Okay, that did not work. Okay, let's figure out why. So I'm gonna run this. One thing I haven't seen many games do is leaving a good cliffhanger, perhaps at the end of the demo, tease a really cool boss intro. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah, leaving the player with questions. Yeah, I think that's right. Might have to figure out how to do that. Okay, so it looks like... Did I not set ricochets? No, I did. Move and collide. Oh. So it's checking the shape. Okay. I think there's two places where tile collisions are happening, which is just, yeah. Handle collision. What does this destroy? Yeah. So handle collision. This is not really handling the collision. This is actually killing the bullet. So I think what I'd probably want to do is do this instead. So I'm setting the collision normal, global position. So let's do this. Private void, handle ricochet. So it's just going to handle the collision if there's no ricochets remaining. Otherwise, it's going to do all this stuff. And then in here, I'm going to call handle ricochet. And then in here, instead of handle collision here, handle ricochet here. So there's two different things happening. The character body collision is happening and the shape cast collision is happening. I don't know why I have both of those things, but there must be a good reason and I'm not going to change it. So we'll just handle the slightly duplicated code. All right, any bets on whether this is going to work? Let's see. I think it's going to work. Let's see. It didn't work. Okay. Let's figure out why that's not working. The problem is probably the shape cast is also happening. Yeah. So what's happening is that the character body, oops. What's happening is that the character body that the bullet component uses for movement is hitting the terrain and it's handling the ricochet. But then the check shape cast is happening immediately after and detecting the collision with the terrain again, and then it's decrementing the ricochet again. I really wonder if I even need this tile map layer collision result. I'm kind of curious to see what happens. Maybe I don't need it. But again, that's one of those things where if I change it, maybe the velocity isn't being... So that actually didn't help at all. So maybe it's that this velocity isn't being reflected properly. I wonder what happens if I just do this. Let's do this. Current velocity equals vector2 dot down times current velocity dot length. So instead of trying to, maybe I'm not doing the reflect correctly. So if I just say, just send it downward, is it going to work suddenly? No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Is current velocity being somehow manipulated here? Current velocity. I'm just making sure that this is not being overridden somewhere. So it should be fine. Yeah, what is going on here? See, this is what I mean. There's a lot of complexity here. And I'm very nervous about changing anything too much, but let's get rid of the shape cast again. So I'm setting it to go downward. Hello, Kareem. Watched your pixel art video the other day and it really did push me back to give it another shot. Thanks a lot. You're welcome. I'm glad that you found it useful. Really happy to hear that. Oh yeah, give some kind of indication of how much content they're missing out on. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll write that down. Tease the player with missing content after demo completion. That's a good idea. So I'm gonna need to run this again. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why this is happening, but so current velocity. Now it's 500 in the Y. Distance traveled equals 0. Ricochets remaining equals 1. Is there a call stack here? What is the call stack? Oh, maybe it's just colliding with the wall again in the next frame. Global position equals collision, not get position. Okay, I think this is going to be much simpler here. I think there's something I can do here. So handle ricochet, instead of doing that, let's do this. Vector 2, collision. Well, we already have the collision normal. So vector 2, collision position. If ricochets remaining is less than 0, we're going to say global position is equal to collision position. So we're going to set the bullet to like snap to where it collided. Otherwise, we're going to say global position is equal to collision position plus I need to like account for, or I guess I can do global position plus equals. Maybe if I just don't set the global position. No, what I should do is offset it by the normal. Plus equals collision normal. So send it 1 pixel away from wherever the collision happened. That should get it off so that it's not going to detect another collision. And because the velocity is being changed, then it will start going the other way. So yeah, so then handle ricochet here. We're going to pass in the collision.get position here. And we're going to assign the collision normal as normal. Handle ricochet. Okay, let's see what happens. I think you're on the right path with just blocking progression for the demo, but I understand how it can be tricky. Yeah, Breck Hex suggestion is good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's actually funny. Wait. Oh, yeah. The reason why it's not working is I'm not actually accounting for the normal now. So now let's try reflecting it. Now let's try reflecting it. Okay, the reflection doesn't work. I know that I'm doing the reflect wrong. Oh, that one worked. Am I doing the reflect incorrectly? The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Yeah. I mean, the reflect should just like do it for me, but I've always had issues with this reflect. Like it never works the way that I expect it to. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. It seems like it's pretty straightforward. I wonder if it's just... Let me rule this out. I'm going to move it 5 pixels away. No, let's do 10 pixels away from the collision normal. So I'm just going to move it far away from the wall and then see if the reflection works. Because it could be the case that maybe the way it's reflecting, it's still making contact with the wall. Oh, here's a clue. Ooh, that's actually a good clue. So the reflect is not working the way that I thought it was going to. What else is new? So you see how the bullets are being offset 32 pixels? Make this bigger. And then they're going back into the wall. It's almost like it's reflecting as if the normal is facing to the left, when the normal is almost assuredly downward. So if I do gd.print collision normal, I guarantee you that's going to say that the normal is downward. Maybe the normal rotated 90 degrees. Yeah, that seems like what it's doing. Yeah, so that's 0, 1. So do I need to do that rotated 90 degrees? So reflect collision normal dot rotated degrees 90. Is that what I need to do? Oh my goodness, you're a genius, Breckheck. Why is that the case? That's so weird. Oh my gosh, look at the ricochet! Okay, now let's see if it will still work when I re-enable this here. And actually, I'm going to change this. Vector 2 collision position, vector 2 collision normal. This dot collision normal is equal to collision normal. So now it's just nice and unified here. It's going to set all the data that needs to be set in here. That looks so good. Haha, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, Breckheck, thank you so much. I was going to spend forever being stuck on that. How did you know that it needs to be rotated 90 degrees? Is that from experience, or is there some like mathematical forbidden knowledge that I'm just not aware of? Oh, that's working so well. I'm actually pretty confident now because I made... Like, the end result is actually pretty minimal here. So if I look at this, all I did was replace this block with some calls to handle ricochet. And then in here, I guess I don't even really need this here, but in here, handle ricochet. Now, one thing to check, I should check, but anyway, this is relatively minimal. If ricochet's remaining is less than or equal to 0, it's going to assign the global position and it's going to go to handle collision, which is just unchanged. So I think, yeah, it's going to be relatively easy here. Now, the question is, yeah, so it's not going to work if I do that. So if I'm right up against the wall, it's not going to ricochet. And I don't know how I'm going to resolve that. So what happens initially is I do a check initial shape cast. This does the shape cast check. Result.point, result.normal, result.collider. What else is in result here? Yeah, so the problem is if I'm in the wall, it's not going to ricochet properly. Which probably is not going to be a big deal, but I do want to make that work correctly. So check initial shape cast is called when the bullet is initialized, I believe. And it's for this specific reason. It's for checking, hey, am I inside of a wall and I need to immediately... Now, where is this called? Oh, it's public? Ooh, that's not good. Oh, so it's going from the receiver global position. So maybe that's the problem. Hold on. Do you have your plans to release this game next year? Yes, end of January. Matthias? End of January is the plan. And I'm pretty dead set on meeting that deadline. The normal is always pointing perpendicular to the surface that was hit. Yes, and that's the thing that... See, that's the thing. I guess the way that I'm thinking about reflection is that the normal should already be in the proper orientation for reflection. But, I don't know. I love the post-processing. Look, this smoke's awesome. Thank you, thank you. Rotate reflect expects the plane you reflect off of, not the normal. Oh, I see. So that's my misunderstanding. I thought it was, here, take the normal and reflect around the normal, but you're saying it's reflecting around the plane that is perpendicular to the normal. That makes sense. Okay. That's what I was missing. See, you did have some hidden mathematical knowledge that I wasn't aware of. So this check initial shapecast. Shapecast 2D, collide with bodies, check shapecast. Yeah, this is... So it's checking the initial shapecast by modifying the shapecast's position. And then it's casting along what happens if I just do origin here? I think the problem with a lot of these calculations is that it's not taking the collision shape of the shapecast, like it's not giving me the size. Because what I need to do is I need to say, okay, there's a collision here, and that collision happened right at this point along the wall, right? So if it's shape casting from the butt of my gun to the tip of my gun, and it's finding that the position is right in the middle, what I need to be able to do is offset that by the shape size. Now that's easy enough to do with a circle because it's just the radius, right? But I think some of my bullets have rectangular shapes, and those could come at an angle, right? And so I actually don't know how much to I guess I would offset it along the direction by the width of the rectangle. But I'd have to introduce a bunch of code to do that, and I don't want to do that. Maybe I can do some experimentation here. Global position equals... Yeah, I just wish there was a way, like I wish this collision information gave me some kind of information about the size of the shape. I mean, I guess that's already a present to me, but it would make my job a lot easier. So I'd probably have to introduce some kind of... Oh, man. Is there like a generic method in the collision shape 2D? What is it called? Oh, it's just a shape 2D. Here we go. Shape 2D. Get rect. Returns a rect representing a shape's boundary. I guess that would work, wouldn't it? I could get the rect, which would give me the bounding of the shape, which would work for any shape. In the case of a circle, the edges would touch, right? So the width of the rectangle would be equal to the circle's diameter. That might be the best way to do it, because then I don't have to write a bunch of conditional logic to get different... Yeah. Let's see if that works. So handle ricochet. What this really needs to be is this needs to be the global position collision position so collision position or global position equals collision position plus negative direction times shape cast2d dot shape dot get rect dot size dot x. Let's see if that works. So what I'm doing is that if it's coming in at an angle like this, I probably should draw it better. Let me draw what I'm doing here. Oops. Okay. So yeah, so if this is my wall here and the bullet is coming in at an angle like this, it's going to have some kind of bounding shape like this that's oriented in this way. And so when it hits a collision, what I want to do is I want to get this width here of the shape. So this width, oops. Wow, this is bad. Okay, whatever. So the width of the shape, but then I want to also I want to take that width and I just want to send it back along its opposite direction vector away from the wall. Now, maybe that probably is too much of an offset because I'm taking the entire width of the shape. I think I need to be half. Well, see, that's the problem, because if it collides with the wall like this, right, then this is going to be the collision position. What I really need to know is, like, how far into the wall is the collision happening so that I can offset the shape properly. Otherwise, I'm just going to be offsetting it way too much. So maybe this isn't going to work. It doesn't even work anyway. Like, going right up against the wall doesn't work, so that's not going to work. Okay. So I'll just undo that. Yeah, I'm going to need to do some testing and figure out how to actually make this work. Besides physical effects like pierce and bounce, do you have debuff effects like strip armor, direct damage, increase incoming damage? Yeah, I have debuff effects. So, like, there's poison and fire, which deal damage over time, and they have different synergies with different kinds of passives. And then I also have a bleed effect, which increases the damage that enemies take from bullets. There's no such thing as, like, strip armor. Like, the enemies don't have any armor value. It's just direct health damage. So bleed would be the closest analog, where it just increases the damage that they take. I also had some other ideas for some other passives that I want to do. But what I need to do is really focus on the status effects that I have now. I've got shock as well. Shock is an interesting one because it deals damage over time, but it does it in an area, so it could potentially damage enemies around the enemy that's affected by the shock. But what I need to do is I need to sit down and spend a lot of time making sure that there's enough synergies for all of the existing effects that I have before I go and add new effects. So for instance, right now, Poison is a great source of damage, but it doesn't really have much going for it in the way of, like, supporting passives and whatnot, or affixes, or runes. So I gotta sit down and do that before I introduce new status effects, but yeah, so all that being said, I'm gonna set this ricochet's remaining to 0 for now, just to reset this back to normal so I can revisit this. I need to get that collision stuff figured out, because I do want the ricochet to work when you're right up against the wall. I just need to figure out a good way of doing that. But for now, I'll just make it so that every bullet has no ricochets whatsoever. That shock effect is Blast in Warframe. Nice. I've never played Warframe. Sorry, I'm just making sure that... Making sure that the bullet collisions still work normally with all those ricochet changes that I made. Seems to be working. I mean, I'm relatively confident that it's working as normal. I just got to make sure that it works fine when the ricochet count goes up. Dang, that was pretty good. Oops, I think I left in place a change that's wrong. Yep. Oops. Gotta be careful about those things. Okay, I'm just going to do this. Start work on ricochet capability. Yeah, that was a great idea. I just need to figure out the collisions, but I think the issues with ricochet are now entirely contained to the ricochet feature itself. I'm pretty confident that the rest of the bullet functionality hasn't been altered in any way. So yeah, I'm fairly confident about it. So, but yeah, that's going to be it for the stream today. Thank you all so much for watching. It was a lot of fun, and thank you all for your continued support. It means a lot to me. So once again, if you'd like to support my work, check out the links in the description below. I've got a number of Udemy courses available for sale. It's a great way to financially support me, and it's a great way for you to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. Otherwise, please wishlist Gunforged and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Any bit of support is greatly appreciated. So thank you all again for being here. It was a lot of fun, and I will see you in the next stream.